Welcome to part 3. I went over to the big windows to take another look of the amazing view, the last rays of the sun gently kissing the lake and the woods. It was first then that I noticed an opening to my right, on the same side as the fireplace. It led into a small kitchen. It had all the basics, nothing fancy, but just what you needed. There was also a back door from the kitchen leading out to the backyard, right by the lake. I opened the door and took a step out. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath of the crisp autumn air. It filled my lungs and I could feel myself growing calm. Slowly, I opened my eyes to the view in front of me and took it all in. It was truly amazing, a little piece of paradise. I drew another long filling breath before I stepped back inside and closed the door behind me. I was looking through the drawers and cabinets when I noticed that the floor sounded differently in the middle of the kitchen. There was a small carpet there, and when I pushed it away with my foot it revealed an old hatch underneath. Its hinges blackened by time and neglect. I looked over to the agent who was leaning against the wall by the kitchen entrance. "Go ahead," he said, almost in an excited manner, motioning with his head towards the hatch. "Open it." I leaned down and grabbed the handle and pulled the hatch towards me. It creaked and groaned like it hadn't been opened in years. The deep dark empty space beneath it stared back at me as I was trying to see what was down there. A steep wooden staircase with questionable stability led down into the darkness. I looked around for a flashlight and, like he was reading my mind, the agent came over and handed one to me. "Here you go," he said with a smile. "I always keep one on me whenever I go into the woods." I started to descend the stairs with one hand firmly gripping the wall and the other one holding the flashlight, illuminating the steps in front of me. About 15 steps down I made it do what looked to be a classic dirt cellar, the kind they used to have in the old days when you needed somewhere to keep your food from spoiling, if you didn't have access to a refrigerator. This dirt cellar, however, was a bit different. It looked like someone had used it as an office of some sort. There was an old desk, and two big bookshelves along the walls packed with books of all sizes. What an odd place to put an office, I thought. I shined the flashlight around the small space and saw that there was an old oil lamp hanging from a hook in the ceiling. I took it down and brought it with me back up to the kitchen. I got to say, I really love this place, but I've got to ask, why the cheap price? I asked the agent. "Well, to be honest, we've had this place on the market for quite some time now without any luck. I really don't know why no one else has come along sooner and swooped this beauty up, cause as you've seen yourself it's a beautiful and well-maintained place. Hell, if I had the money myself, it really is something," I said, slowly looking around. "You know what," I said after a moment, not wanting to sound too eager, "I'll take it." "Where do I sign?" I didn't think he could possibly smile any wider than he had done this whole time, but when I said I wanted to buy the place I swear I thought his face would crack from how wide his smile was. "Right here," he said while opening his briefcase that he'd been holding on to this whole time. He tossed it up on the kitchen counter and opened the clasps on either side and pulled out a stack of papers. He had the contract drawn up and ready to be signed. "Sign here, here, there, initials there, and there." He looked almost like someone who had 9 out of 10 lottery numbers down and just waited for that jackpot number. I put down my last initials and noticed how he was breathing heavily and had started to sweat a little. "There you go," he almost shouted, "You're officially a cabin owner. Congratulations." "Thank you very much," I said, "but what about the money?" "Oh, there's an account number in there somewhere," he said while pointing to my copy of the contract. "Just wire us the money when you can, I trust you." "Okay. Yeah, I'll do that as soon as I have access to the internet again." "Perfect. Well, I've got to go. I have a long drive home and it really is getting dark out there," he said while he was walking towards the front door. "Yeah, me as well," I said, following him. He suddenly stopped and turned around. "You mean you're not staying here tonight?" No, I have work tomorrow and need to get some stuff from home before I can stay the night here. I'll probably drive up this weekend to get settled." "Oh, I see," he said, looking almost disappointed. well, drive safe and don't hesitate to call if you have any questions. And with that, he was out the door and within minutes driving up the dirt road again. I took one last look around. My cabin, I thought. My own cabin. I let a slight laugh out. I couldn't believe it. The sun was just about to disappear behind the trees on the far side of the lake, making the water look almost like the entire lake was ablaze. A thick mist was slowly rolling out over the waters, and even though I was inside, I could feel the coldness out there. I turned to leave when I in the distance could swear I heard a faint giggle. I stopped in my tracks and listened, nothing. Must be the house, I thought. Wooden houses make all kinds of weird noises when temperatures change. I shook it off and went out through the front door, locked up and walked over to my car to drive home. The leaves rustling and crunching beneath my feet. It was completely dark out by now and I had to take it real easy to find my way out to the main road again, quietly reminding myself that I needed to look over that dirt road and clean it up a bit. I had been driving for about 10 minutes on the main road back, twisting and turning when I came up to a sharp right turn. The second I came around the corner, I all of a sudden saw a person step out of the woods right in front of my car. I slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The person in front of me turned her head and looked me straight in the eye. It all went so fast, but I could clearly see that it was an old lady. She was smiling ear to ear beneath a dark hood. I closed my eyes and prepared myself for the unavoidable impact, but it never came. The car came to a screaming halt, and I slowly opened my eyes again, my heart beating like crazy. I was breathing so hard I almost passed out before I could calm myself down. I looked all around me but couldn't see anything or anyone outside. I loosened my seatbelt and got out of the car to see where the old lady had gone. My God, is she under the car? There was no one, nothing. I was sure she had been there just seconds ago. I could still see her old creepy face in front of me. Had I fallen asleep? I turned my warning signals on and walked back the way I had come, but there were no signs of anyone. All I could see were the black tire tracks on the pavement, and the smell of burnt rubber mixed in with the smells of the forest. The wind was picking up, thrashing and tearing the huge trees from one side to another, branches cracking and breaking in the wind. In the distance I heard a lone owl howl. After looking around for a while without finding any evidence for an old lady, or any other person for that matter, got back to my car and drove all the way home, the rest of the way being uneventful. So, Wednesday and Thursday came and went. I had put the incident with the car behind me and wrote it down as stress or sleep deprivation and was so ready to get back up to my cabin to spend my first of many weekends there. My cabin, I thought with a smile. My bags were packed and already in the car. I hadn't had time to look for a new bed yet but figured that I just throw some blankets over the existing one and make it through the first couple of nights like that. I sat in my office and counted down the minutes while staring out of the window. Outside, the busy city was living its life. People in suits stressing to get from one place to another, cars stuck in traffic honking at each other to get out of the way. Buildings of all sizes, packed tight together, blocking out the last few hours of the afternoon sun, casting shadows on the streets and stopping the fresh air from freely flowing whilst containing all the foul stench of the city with their broad, tall walls looming above all. I absolutely couldn't stand it here. I felt claustrophobic amongst all this. I needed to get back out there, to the cabin. I closed my eyes while listening to the clock on the wall slowly counting down the seconds, tick-tack, tick-tack. In my mind I was back by the lake, feeling my lungs once again being filled with that pure, fresh air. Tick-tack, tick. I opened my eyes. The clock had just struck 5 p.m. I slammed my laptop together, grabbed my stuff and took off to the elevator and pressed the button for the garage. The elevator stopped on each floor to let more people in, pushing me further and further back. I could feel the panic of this containment creep closer. My pulse beating faster and faster. I stood in the corner at the back when the elevator doors once again opened. I couldn't see much from my position, the small metal box now packed with people, all wanting to get home as soon as possible, but for a split second, in one of the mirrors on the wall, I thought I saw a familiar face step into the elevator. I tried to look past all the suits and trench coats in front of me, and that's when I saw her. One quick glimpse was all I got, but I saw her. The only one not facing the doors, but staring me straight in the eye. There she stood, the old woman that I thought I had run over the other day, smiling. I only saw her for a split second, and when the doors finally opened again and people started to exit, she was gone.